Okay, now we are going to move on to the real adventure. The Chicago pizza with multiple meats: sausage, pepperoni, mushroom, onion. I'm sure the Brit girls will be taking much smaller bites of the next one.
Today we're stepping on very controversial ground because we are going to be comparing New York versus Chicago style pizza. And to make it perhaps even more contentious, we actually have someone from Chicago here to do this taste test with us today.
You're all saying, where is the New York person here?
We don't have one.
We'll try not to be biased.
We will try not to be biased.
So Roger, what gave you the idea for this video?
One thing Lucy said, very controversial: you might as well talk religion or politics as talk whose pizza is better. And Chicago versus New York are two of the ones that are always mentioned, but there are other cities that would claim their pizza is better than either. But Chicago versus New York is generally the two that people mention. And I'll just say that a lot of people have this vision of the deep dish, super thick Chicago pizza. That's not the actual Chicago style pizza. The actual Chicago style pizza is a much thinner crust.
And even if you look up on the internet, it talks about that deep dish pizza. And I remember when it came over to the UK, it was hugely popular for a while until the more Italian style thinner crusts came back into popularity.
Yeah, and this is so well known. I was in the UK just a few weeks ago and I was talking about Chicago style pizza and everyone said, oh, is that the deep dish? So we're about to blow all your minds by having something a little bit different.
So growing up, Roger, I guess there was no such thing as deep dish pizza?
There was.
Right.
It's just we didn't eat it a lot. We grew up outside of Chicago, probably about 70 miles. And the town that I grew up in had several pizza places, but there were three in particular. There was Sammy's, Bianchi's, and Alfano's. And to this day, my brother orders from Sammy's, my nephew orders from Alfano's, so they've been there forever. But actually our family, we figured this out last night, our family has been ordering from the same pizza place in Ottawa for roughly 60 years.
Wow.
Wow.
And my father always said, there's no such thing as bad pizza, it's just some are better than others. So,
I love that.
Yeah, he had his preferences, but you know, it could be any pizza, it's just some are better.
Recently we did a New York food tasting video, and one of the things we tasted was New York pizza, and we taste tested a cheese pizza. I think I'm right in saying that we've never done a taste test for Chicago pizza before.
No, and I've certainly never had the opportunity to have them side by side, so
Right.
I'm quite excited to see what's different.
Sounds great. That's why I love these videos.
Abracadabra!
We have two pizzas from a local New York style pizza place called Pizza. We've done a video on them before as part of our New York food tasting. And then we have pizza from Rosati's, which is a Chicago chain that we have out here in Arizona. So we have an authentic New York style and authentic Chicago style.
And I can say, even in the box, they smell so good.
The smell in here is absolutely amazing.
Okay, let's open the lids and see what's inside.
So the first one we're going to try is the cheese pizza, both from Rosati's and from Pizza. And one of the first things you'll notice is that the New York pizza is cut in slices, and the Chicago pizza is cut in squares.
Did you know pizza was breakfast food? Well, leftover pizza from the night before, eaten cold, is a breakfast treat here in America. Okay, so I remember from before, Roger, that these New York style pizzas are made for on the go.
Yes.
And you can just fold them.
So let's try it.
1, 2, 3.
That is absolutely delicious. I love that the crust is soft enough to fold, but it's crispy on the outside. It's kind of a nice sweet taste, I think, the sauce, and the cheese complements it beautifully.
I like that there's a good amount of cheese on
There
there.
is.
Yeah.
Nice sauce, nice layer of sauce, nice even cheese.
I always think the mark of a good pizza restaurant is how they do their margarita or their cheese and tomato. Like if they get that
Yeah.
right, you know it's a good place.
Yeah,
Exactly.
well said. Now we're going to try the Rosati's Chicago pizza. Pass your plates.
Pizza and celebrities. Many famous people started out making pizza and delivering pizza, including Bill Murray and Jean-Claude Van Damme. And Roger.
Okay, now let's try this.
The sauce is thicker
I would say
topping.
the base feels thicker as well.
Yeah, and it's got sort of almost like a cornmeal on the bottom of it. I don't think it is, but it feels like it.
It's
Yes.
kind of textured. Again, I like that there's a good amount of sauce, a good amount of cheese. Different in the crust. The New York one had a larger crust going all the way around.
Yes.
And the Chicago one, almost the fillings go all the way up to the edge. Not completely all the way around, but nearly.
I think it's because the New York one is designed to be held originally. You can put your fingers on the crust and not get your fingers full of sauce.
I think that's a good call. I
Yeah.
think that is.
It's quite amazing how different they are.
Exactly, I agree.
That was the first thing I noticed. You think, oh, cheese and tomato pizza, I know what that's going to taste like. No, because these are two cheese and tomato pizzas and they are very different.
Different sauces, different cheese.
Which do you think is the sweeter sauce?
I would have gone into this thinking it would have been Rosati's, but I'm not 100%
No.
sure.
No, I'm not. I would say they're both on the sweet side, but maybe that one a
Yeah.
little bit more.
Yes.
It's hard to say though. I wouldn't say there's a huge amount in it.
So what is the verdict, ladies?
Gosh, it's really hard to pick a favourite because they are both absolutely delicious and I would happily sit down and eat the entirety of either of them if I was allowing myself to do so.
Although they are quite different, the quality of both is of the same level. I think if I was going just for a cheese pizza, I would go for the New York style one. But I'm thinking if I go for one with several toppings on, I think the Chicago pizza is going to win it for me.
So I can't disagree with anything you guys are saying. If we were gonna just have a plain cheese pizza, it would be a coin flip for me too. As
Yes.
much as I am from Chicago, I can honestly say the pizza is every bit as good as the Rosati's, and I would take either one. So now is where we get a little more adventurous. We have two non-meat eaters, and both of these have meat on them. But as you've seen in the videos throughout the history of the Brit Girls, they are very flexible when it comes to trying new foods.
Yeah.
We'll give it a go.
We'll give it a go. We can't promise, but we'll give it a go.
So the first one we're going to open up here is the New York Pizza pepperoni. What people have told us from New York is the most popular pizza from New York is a cheese pizza, and the second most popular is a pepperoni pizza. With the Chicago pizza, it's generally heavier on the toppings. The toppings that we have on the Chicago pizza are sausage, pepperoni, mushroom, and onion. And that would be much more typical of a Chicago pizza.
And I must say, this is something I would never ever, even when I was eating meat, this is something I would
Exactly.
never order. So I'm excited, a little bit nervous to give this a go.
What I'm thinking is I'm going to have lots of leftovers.
Pepperoni is the most popular pizza topping in the United States. Other popular toppings include sausage, mushrooms, onions, and black olives.
Not surprisingly, anchovies are the least favorite pizza topping.
I don't know if I've ever tried pepperoni. It's just the look of it, for me, is not really tantalizing.
Just so I can prepare myself, is this going to be a little bit hot, a little bit spicy?
Oh, yeah.
It'll have a touch of spice to it. It'll have a
Okay.
little kick to it. Not so hot that it's like having crushed red peppers on there.
Right,
Okay.
yeah.
But it'll have it'll be a
Have a
little
bit of a
spicy.
kick.
Yeah.
Look, have a little something.
1, 2, 3.
Okay, all right.
I'm waiting for the reaction.
See my brain's turning.
That's not too bad.
Actually not bad. Okay, so I was expecting it to be tougher
Yeah, me too.
and chewier and harder to, almost jerky-like.
A pepperoni is like a sausage, and it's just sliced very, very thin.
It blended in with the cheese and tomato really well and just gave it a more salty flavor, I would say. Slightly spicy and a little bit salty.
I quite like the slightly saltier, a little bit of heat. I quite like
Yeah.
If you
it.
had a little thicker piece of pepperoni, it probably would be chewier.
Okay. Yeah.
But this is sliced so that it's
They knew we were coming.
And do you think that's kind of typical of a New York pizza, that it would be sliced very thin?
I think it's
and-
pretty typical of any pizza.
I wonder if I should try the pepperoni on its own.
Oh, that's a good idea, should we? I'll have this little corner.
That's not bad. I quite like it.
It's not bad at all. Roger's a bit worried that he's not going to get
He's I've had it now.
Yeah.
Okay, now we are going to move on to the real adventure. The Chicago pizza with multiple meats: sausage, pepperoni, mushroom, onion. I'm sure the Brit Girls will be taking much smaller bites of the next one, but let's see how it goes.
The modern pizza we know today was invented in Naples, Italy in the 1800s.
So here's how this one looks.
So this has more of a rustic look, I would say, which I like. I think it's very visually appealing.
Pass your plates, folks.
Okay. The Super Bowl is the #1 pizza day in the US, followed by Halloween, New Year's Eve, and New Year's Day. The only one that really surprises me there is Halloween.
Let's see how we
Let's
go.
give it a try.
Wow.
That is pizza.
That is pizza.
That's pretty good.
I think when you describe it as an adventure, perfect. With all those different flavors on there, plus the texture of the base that we mentioned earlier.
It's the way to go, really, isn't it?
The key to good Italian sausage on a Chicago pizza is fresh, homemade Italian sausage. And that's what we have.
That had so much flavour, that sausage. And I've had a vegetarian Italian sausage
Right.
and a chicken Italian sausage.
Right.
And with the pork, it's got a different flavour than what I'm used to. Oh, you've hardly got any left.
I know, it's almost still got it. Probably, I am going to finish this little.
We have a couple of converts.
Yeah, I like the way you crunch through each layer, the onions giving it a good crunchy texture, and then it bursts with flavour, so it all feels like it's meant to be there.
This is 50 plus years of knowing what to order on a pizza.
This wasn't just luck.
Yeah, this just wasn't thrown
So
together.
you can throw all kinds of toppings on. And in fact, although this would be one of the most popular Chicago pizzas, it's usually served with green peppers as well. Personally, I'm not a green pepper fan, but a supreme pizza would be exactly what's here: pepperoni, sausage, mushroom, onion, and green pepper. To sum it up, if it's the cheese pizza or a coin flip,
Could go either way.
for me, if I have to order a pizza, it's gonna be this one, the Chicago.
Please let us know in the comments section below, what's your favourite type of pizza? Is it New York, Chicago, or something completely different? Also, we'd love to know, what are your favourite toppings? Please comment below.
Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, please give us a like and maybe consider subscribing to the Brit Girls. Bye for now.
Bye.